What's going on YouTube? This is SG1 Sports and you're watching our college football channel. It's time for my week 7 predictions. We're going to take 10 of the biggest games of the weekend and I'll give you score predictions for these games. Some really good games coming up. Oregon-Washington obviously is the marquee matchup, the big headline top 10 showdown. But if you look at these point spreads, there should be a lot of really close games, a lot of really exciting games this weekend. And really it already started. How about that game last night? With the way West Virginia lost to Houston on the Hail Mary. I mean, we're already off to a great start. So let's get into the predictions here. Kansas, Oklahoma State, 3:30 Eastern time on FS1. Kansas favored by 3 points on the road. Oklahoma State at times has looked awful this year. Remember what they did beat Kansas State and looked pretty good in that game. I just think that game was a bit of a fluke. I don't know that Oklahoma State's really turned things around that much. Kansas has been a pretty solid, steady, consistent team. I think even on the road, they're able to win, but it'll be tough. That's a tough place to play. I'm expecting a close game, but I'm going to say they win it by a touchdown. 34-27, my prediction in this one. Next, we've got Oregon-Washington, the game of the weekend. Like I said, 3:30 Eastern time on ABC. Washington favored by 3. This is a tough one. I really have gone back and forth on this game. Home field advantage obviously going to be big, and that goes in the favor of Washington. You've got the revenge factor for Oregon. The way they lost last year, really felt like they should have won that game. I think the offense for Washington a little bit better than Oregon overall, or at least in the passing game. Oregon a little bit more balanced. I think Oregon does have a slight advantage on defense, and I think that motivation, the way they lost last year, it's going to give them an edge. They go on the road. They pull off the slight upset. 38-35, I think we'll see a lot of points in this game. Bo Nix versus Michael Penix should be fun. Wouldn't be surprised at all if Washington won this game, but I'm going to go with Oregon. I think Oregon, again, is just the more complete, the better overall team, and I'm going to go with the Ducks, but very, very close. Next, we've got Florida, South Carolina, 3:30 Eastern time on the SEC Network. South Carolina favored by 2.5 points in this one. This is a tough one to pick as well. South Carolina, if they lose this game, all of a sudden they're 2-4. And this is a team that a lot of people had high expectations for coming into the season. I did not. I was not buying into South Carolina, so at least I got that one right. Florida's been a little bit better maybe than I thought they would be. I think Florida's probably a little bit better of a team overall, but I just think on the road and the desperation that South Carolina I think is going to be playing with in this game. Spencer Rattler makes some plays. It's close, very close. Actually, I'm going with a 1-point game. South Carolina 27, Florida 26. Again, home field advantage, the difference by a slight margin, and that's probably why Vegas favored South Carolina here as well. All right, next up, Texas A&M versus Tennessee on the road in Knoxville. 3:30 Eastern time on CBS. Tennessee favored by 3 points. Should be another great game. I actually saw a prediction earlier this morning. I think it was Saturday down south. They picked Tennessee to win this game. I think it was 35-14. Not expecting a close game at all. I don't know which Tennessee team is going to show up. We've seen them at times this year look really good, and then you look at the Florida game, they were awful. Playing at home, you would expect them not to look awful in this game, but Joe Milton has really been inconsistent. The run game has been the key for them, and they're going up against a very good run defense in Texas A&M. So I think the matchup does favor Texas A&M just a little bit here, but it's on the road, and that is a tough place to play, and because of that, it almost comes down to a coin flip, but I'm going to go with the team that I think is more desperate after the loss to Alabama. I think Texas A&M comes out in a must-win game, and they get the win here, 27-24. Not quite a shootout, a little bit of a lower scoring game, but I like the Aggies here to pull off the upset on the road. So I'm actually going with some road teams, which is rare. If you follow my predictions, I usually go with the home teams in these close games, but just kind of a gut feeling on Texas A&M going on the road and winning, and then also Oregon and Kansas as well. Next up, we've got Auburn at LSU, 7 o'clock Eastern time, ESPN. LSU favored by 11.5 points in this game. LSU's offense has been tough to stop, almost impossible to stop. Auburn's defense will have a very tough test there. Playing at home, you might give them more of a shot, at least their defense to step up and play really well, but I don't think they can slow LSU down a whole lot in this game. The secondary is probably the strength of this Auburn team, so that's the good news. And so maybe they don't give up 50 points, but LSU is going to score in this game. It comes down to Auburn's offense. Can they get things figured out? Can Peyton Thorne move the football through the air? I think the run game for them will allow them to move the ball a little bit. They'll score some points, but not enough to really make this super competitive. I'm going to go with LSU 35, Auburn 20. I think the LSU Tigers pull away and win it by 15. Next, we've got Miami versus North Carolina, 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. North Carolina's favored by 3.5 in this game. Oh boy, Miami, the way they lost last week. How do you come back from that? Are they devastated? Is their season over? Or do they come out really fired up, really motivated, and wanting to play for their coach? I don't know. North Carolina has been getting better and better, it seems. They've actually got a pretty good defense this year. They bring their star wide receiver back from all that NCAA stuff. He's actually going to be able to play now. And playing at home, I think North Carolina, I think they're just the better team, and I think they get the win here. I'm going to go 34-24. Pretty close. Maybe a late touchdown for North Carolina puts the game away. Next, we've got Missouri at Kentucky, 7:30 Eastern time. SEC Network, Kentucky favored by 2.5 in this one. Should be a good game. These are two good teams. I don't know about great teams, but these are good teams. And perhaps this is a battle for second place in the SEC East. Who knows? Kentucky playing at home, that's going to be an advantage for them. Missouri coming off of a tough loss. Both teams coming off of losses. Missouri's at home to LSU, a game they, I think, had a chance to win. Kentucky, really a beat down against Georgia. How do they respond? I don't know. This is one that I don't have a gut feeling on. I think Kentucky overall is probably the better team. I don't know if we can say that for sure at this point, but I think that they probably are a little bit better top to bottom. Plus, they're playing at home. So I'm going to go with the Wildcats here, 31-27. Another close game, and I think we're going to see a lot of close games this week. There will be one or two games, though, big games where the spread's really low, like 2 or 3 points, and you're expecting a great game, a close game. There'll be a couple of those games that turn into blowouts. Which ones will they be? I don't know. I'm not finding that, but it seems to always happen. So we'll see how that plays out. We've got USC Notre Dame here, 7:30 Eastern time on NBC. Notre Dame favored by 2.5. I think they're probably favored just because of the way USC's been struggling. Notre Dame has been battle tested for sure. They've played a very tough schedule so far, coming off of a really tough loss to Louisville. They're the desperate team here. I expect them to bounce back and play really well. Best defense that USC has seen all year. We've seen when you get pressure on Caleb Williams, the offense overall just does not go as well for USC, and Notre Dame I think is going to be able to do that. I don't see USC's defense being able to stop Notre Dame all that much. So, USC is a really good team, going to have a really good offense, and they're going to be able to score and make this game close. But I really like Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame wins this game 34-31. And again, what should be a good game, but I think Sam Hartman delivers late for Notre Dame. Their defense steps up. They make some plays late. And it's actually one of those games where I think maybe USC scores. It's 34-24, and USC scores a late touchdown. So I think the game does wind up being like a 3-point game, but Notre Dame kind of controls it, if that makes sense. Next, we've got NC State versus Duke, 8 o'clock Eastern time, ACC Network. Duke favored by 3. I think a lot of people jumping on North Carolina State here, saying that, no Riley Leonard. North Carolina State's going to have a chance to pull off the upset here. But Duke is not good just because of Riley Leonard. They're good because of their defense, and I think their defense will step up and play really well. Lower scoring game, but I think they get it done, even with a backup quarterback. Duke wins it 20-17, again, because of their defense. And then finally, UCLA at Oregon State, 8 o'clock Eastern time on Fox. Oregon State favored by 3.5 points. This should be a pretty good game. Oregon State at home is really good, and I don't know if UCLA is going to be able to go on the road and win this game. I'm going to Oregon State 30-20. If there's a game, again, I was talking about a game that maybe is not close, you think it's going to be close and it's not, this could be that game. I'm not going to go with a huge blowout, but I think Oregon State will win by double digits here. Again, 30-20 my final score. Give me your predictions on these 10 games down in the comments below.